Welcome back and thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to make over this very solid, very old dresser. She's got a lot of surface issues with veneer chipping off, which I've already put a bit of wood putty on. She's going to look fabulous with a lot of layers, a lot of texture. I'm going to create a really aged appearance with Mint by Michelle mineral paints and her tissue paper called Moroccan Tile. As you can see, I've already used a little bit of wood putty to fix the veneer, but if you're a little impatient to get the handle holes bogged up, use this builder's cement, builder's bog, whatever you want to call it. It's a two-part system where you add a hardener, you mix it up really well. Only use small bits at a time because it does go hard really quickly. And then know exactly where you're going to put it, because it starts to dry within minutes, and it should be really hard enough to sand within about 15 or 20 minutes. The next step is to give it a good clean. My preference is methylated spirits. It cleans and degreases. So first I'm preparing the drawer fronts and the door in preparation for decoupaging the tissue paper, and I've mixed fresh sheets white with some salt wash for texture, which is going to be underneath the paper. Next I'm using Mint's grey lead mixed with salt wash to make this very thick paste-like paint, and I'm going to stipple this all over to create more texture. So this is going to go all over the whole base. I just want to say the next process of the paint layers was very random. I use that word a lot because I was prepared with colours, but I didn't quite know how I was going to achieve it until it actually happened. I'm so glad it worked out. So firstly, I'm using Mint's Thunder and Lightning, which is like a teal blue. It's not really a dark blue, but it was just the right kind of blue that I needed. And remember, this is the first coat. So I'm starting by stippling it on because as I do this I am creating texture, but as you can see, as my design and technique evolves, I don't really need to texture it on, because as you can see, once I've put it on, I then decided to use a mister. My mister here was playing up, bloody misters. Anyway, then I'm using a dry microfiber cloth to just take off some of the paint. Next I'm coming in with my Frenchy blue. It is almost like a bit of a duck egg blue colour, and this is just adding another layer. And I'm using the same sort of technique, stippling it on and then misting it and then removing some of it with a microfiber cloth. Now I did go through about 1 million microfiber cloths because they do get a bit saturated with the paint, and I kept doing this in layers of adding paint, misting, taking it off with the cloth until I was satisfied with the coverage or the depth of coverage at this stage. The cloth itself actually creates a bit of texture detail as well. So now I'm coming in with grey lead again, just adding another layer, adding more dimension to the piece, and I'm taking it off and making some of it a little bit drippy, controlling the drips with my cloth. Here you can see I'm creating some drippy effect, but I didn't want it too crazy drippy. That's why I keep controlling it with the cloth. And I do end up using the hot air gun just to control them even more. I think it's looking pretty good at this stage. I've got the My Frenchy Blue over the Thunder and Lightning, and I've put the Thunder and Lightning over the rest of the base. I'm going to graduate the colours down from light up the top to dark down the bottom. So here I'm adding more grey lead around the base because I want the base to be darker. And I know I keep saying this, but it is very random. And I thoroughly enjoyed the process. There was no stress about having a perfect blend. It is so much fun to blend over texture, and using this method with the spray and the dabbing off creates like a smoky blend as the paint colours get trapped in the texture. I'm adding it in a bit more My Frenchy Blue now to just continue that ombre effect from light up the top to dark down the bottom. And I'm using the same technique, dabbing the paint on, spraying, and then dabbing it back off again, blending it in very roughly and randomly, but it all works out so nicely. Here you can see how the other end looks as I've come in with the grey lead on top of the blue again, and then I've blended in more My Frenchy Blue into that. She's looking good so far. So now I'm using Woolen Jumper. This is the lightest colour I'm going to use, and I'm mainly just putting this on the top piece. This is going to be the lightest layer, and I do start stippling it on until I realised it's so hot today and the paint was drying really quickly, so I ended up really fast brushing it on so it didn't dry before I was able to mist it and dab it back off again. The difference between using a mineral paint for this and not a chalk paint is that the mineral paint, once it's dry, it really won't reactivate with the mist. So that's why I'm getting in there rather quickly to, because I didn't want big chunks of the Woolen Jumper. I wanted it to be smoky blend like the rest of it. So here I am, I'm coming in, I'm misting it. I'm letting it drip a bit. I'm controlling it with the microfiber cloth, and then I attempt to do the same around the top. sometimes the hardest decision is to know when to stop. So I'm going to stop now. I think it looks good. Before I add any more layers or detail to the base, I want to get the paper on, because I want them to blend uniformly with any waxes that I use. So here I'm just figuring out the placement, and because it's a very symmetrical design, I'm doing a lot of measuring to make sure that it looks symmetrical on the eye, but it all flows from each panel. I meant to show you the pack that the tissue paper comes in. They're a little bit different to the decoupage papers. They come in these sheets, and there's 3 sheets to a pack, and they all join up. They're joinable images. So when I started applying this, I'm showing you the felt applicator that I love to use with the decoupage paper, and this is the plastic bag that the paper came out of, and of course the brush. I start off doing small sections at a time like I usually do, and I actually start using the felt applicator, but as you see, I gave up on that because there is texture underneath, and the felt applicator is really only good for flat surfaces. However, keep watching because the plastic bag really comes to the rescue. So just watch here as I'm using top coat to paste, but I'm not having any luck with the felt applicators. So I'm sticking my hand in the bag, and this allows me to really push into all that detail that I've created with the texture. And I continue as I usually do, just pasting small sections at a time. Just makes the application a lot easier. And here I'm pushing, and I can be quite rough with it actually because I've got the plastic bag protecting the paper. And once it's dry, I'm sanding the edges. It creates a lovely flush finish, and it also makes those edges stick down a little bit better. And then I'm going to use the sandpaper to just roughly distress it. I've got that lovely texture underneath, and this just adds to the whole aged appearance. And because I want the design to symmetrically flow down the piece, I'm just making some little measurements there. And the beauty of this paper, you can use it on small projects or large projects because all the pieces will join up. So I'm pasting here. I'm just going to apply this bit, which I took off the sheet from the drawer. and I'm just going to use the same technique with the bag to push it into all the detail, into all that texture and around all the edges. So now I'm coming in with another sheet, and I find the edge that will match, and just add the paste as I usually do in small sections and gently join them up, and use my bag to push it all down. And then I just continue this the whole way down and onto all the other drawers. And yes, I did get a bit overexcited with the sandpaper and I caused a tear, but in this particular design, it doesn't matter. It's just going to add to that aged appearance. So I'm then using just my fingers to create a crease, so I know where to cut the next piece of paper. Because I'm going to be using a lot of dark waxes, I've actually decided to seal the paper with Annie Sloan's clear wax. It creates a lovely barrier. Before I waxed the whole piece, I decided to come in with a little bit more grey lead and a bit more spray to create some more drippy effect, and I did this all over. And then I come in, wait for it, still wait, I'm still going with the grey lead here. Okay, then I come in, oh no, it's still going. Drying. All right, bit more grey lead. Bit more grey lead, bit more drippy. Here we go. I'm now using Mint's Fat Fanta, which is orange, and over the top of the grey lead, it creates this lovely drippy rust effect. And I've used this effect all around the piece as well. And wait till we add the dark waxes, it's just going to look fabulous. So before I do the waxing, I'm using a carbide scraper to just gently knock off the tops of some of that texture that I'd created underneath. And this, especially you'll notice in the lighter colours, this will expose that grey lead that's underneath, just for a lovely worn look. Look at that, it's just looking fabulous. Mint by Michelle's mineral paint has a built-in top coat, but when I'm using dark waxes over it, I do like to put some clear wax first. It just makes the dark wax a little bit easier to control, and I suppose we're adding in another layer of protection here. So here's the dark wax, and you wait until you see the difference. and it is just so easy to apply. I'm using a large round brush and I'm putting it on crazy everywhere, and then with a clean dry rag I'm wiping it off. And if you find that you've put on too much, you don't like the real grungy look, you can take it off with the clear wax. And I just like to build it up. I put it in the crevices, and then I take off the excess, and then I can come back at any stage and add more and build up this grungy effect. It's such a personal preference. It's amazing what an effect the dark wax creates. Really gives it dimension, really gives it an aged appearance. And finally, I'm putting it around the knobs. And isn't she looking fabulous? I'm so pleased with this. It just turned out exactly how I wanted it to look. She's a bit grungy. I'm loving all that texture. The colours are just melting into each other just perfectly. And I think it looks great with the paper. What do you think? I think this paper really suits this style. If you look closer, you can't see any of the joins. I really hope you've enjoyed this process. If you'd like to see more of my work, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I would love if you would subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.